Imagine a drug so powerful it could turn ordinary men into super soldiers. This was the reality in the Third Reich with the introduction of Pervitin. Pervitin, a methamphetamine-based stimulant, was not just a drug. It was a tool, a weapon wielded by the Nazi regime. It was designed to keep soldiers awake, alert and aggressive, transforming them into the perfect instruments of Blitzkrieg, the lightning war. It was this drug that fueled the relentless advance of Nazi troops, giving them the edge over their fatigued opponents. But Pervitin was more than a military asset. It was a societal phenomenon, widely consumed by the German public under the guise of a miracle pill. As we peel back the layers of Pervitin's history, we'll explore its role in the Blitzkrieg, its champion in Hitler's personal physician, Theodore Morell, and the human cost of its usage. So, how did this potent stimulant shape the course of World War II? Let's delve into the story. The Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War, was a swift and brutal strategy employed by the Nazis, and Pervitin played a significant role in its execution. Pervitin, a potent stimulant chemically similar to modern-day methamphetamine, was used extensively by the German military during the Second World War. It provided soldiers with heightened alertness, suppressed fatigue, and a sense of invulnerability, all crucial elements in the execution of the Blitzkrieg strategy. Blitzkrieg was designed to deliver quick, focused assaults, aiming to disorient and crush the enemy before they had the chance to mount a coordinated response. With Pervitin coursing through their veins, German soldiers could fight for days without rest, their physical and mental capacities seemingly undiminished by fatigue. This enabled the Nazis to push through enemy lines with terrifying speed and efficiency, a hallmark of the Blitzkrieg strategy. The distribution of Pervitin was not haphazard. It was a calculated move by the Third Reich, a part of their grand design for domination. Soldiers were given Pervitin as part of their standard field rations, often without understanding the full implications of the drug they were consuming. The result was a dramatic increase in combat effectiveness, but at a significant cost. Pervitin wasn't just a performance-enhancing drug, it was a tool of war, wielded with deadly efficiency by the Nazis. But the use of such substances in warfare raises difficult ethical and moral questions. While enhancing a soldier's capabilities might seem advantageous in the short term, the long-term effects on both the individual and the collective cannot be ignored. The widespread use of Pervitin during the Blitzkrieg era was a double-edged sword. On one side, it boosted the Nazis' military prowess, enabling them to wage war with unprecedented ferocity. On the other side, it exacted a heavy toll on the soldiers themselves, leaving them physically exhausted and psychologically scarred. The Blitzkrieg, fueled by Pervitin, was a terrifying force, but the story doesn't end on the battlefield. The repercussions of this mass drug use would echo through the decades, leaving a trail of addiction, trauma, and ethical quandaries in its wake. And as we'll see in the next segment, even the Führer himself wasn't immune to the allure of Pervitin. Enter Theodore Morell, Hitler's personal physician and a strong advocate for the use of Pervitin. Theodore Morell, a portly man with an intense gaze, was not just any doctor. He was the personal physician to none other than Adolf Hitler. Morell's influence in the Third Reich extended beyond his medical expertise. His advocacy for Pervitin, a methamphetamine drug, was instrumental in its widespread use within the Nazi regime. Morell's relationship with Hitler was not merely professional, it was profoundly personal. Their bond, built on trust and dependence, allowed Morell to exert considerable influence over Hitler's health decisions. The doctor's fervent belief in the benefits of Pervitin led him to administer the drug to Hitler on a regular basis. It's worth noting that Pervitin, known for its stimulant properties, was believed to enhance focus and endurance. Pivotal decisions made by Hitler during the war may have been influenced by the altered state of mind induced by this potent drug. However, Morell's practices were not without controversy. His liberal use of Pervitin and other drugs in his treatment of Hitler raised eyebrows, even within the close-knit circle of the Third Reich's leadership. Some even accused him of poisoning the Führer. Yet Morell remained steadfast in his beliefs, confident in the power of Pervitin to bolster the war effort. Morell's case presents a fascinating study of the complexities of medical ethics in times of war. As a doctor, Morell was bound by the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm. Yet, his advocacy for Pervitin, a drug known for its potential for addiction and harmful side effects, seems to contradict this fundamental principle. Was Morell merely a product of his time, swept up in the fervor of war and the desperation to win at all costs? Or did he knowingly compromise his ethics for power and influence? Morell's controversial medical practices raise complex ethical questions, especially when we consider the human toll of Pervitin use. We delve deeper into the story of Pervitin in the Third Reich. We are confronted with the harsh realities of its impact on individuals and society at large. Behind every pill, there's a person. Let's look at the experiences of two individuals, patient A and patient B, to understand the human cost of Pervitin. Patient A, known to history as Adolf Hitler himself, once a figure of boundless energy and fervent ambition, found himself entangled in the grip of Pervitin, a drug touted as a miraculous solution for maintaining his vigor and focus amidst the chaos of war. Initially presented as a strategic tool to enhance his leadership capabilities, Pervitin became a daily fixture in Hitler's regimen. However, as time wore on, the insidious effects of Pervitin began to take their toll on the dictator. Hitler's reliance on the drug escalated, leading to alarming symptoms: erratic behavior, paranoia, and delusions of grandeur. As the war progressed, his physical and mental health deteriorated rapidly, casting a shadow over his once dominant presence on the world stage. Despite his efforts to project an image of strength and invincibility, Hitler's dependency on Pervitin became increasingly apparent. Ultimately, it contributed to his downfall, as his judgment became clouded and his decision-making erratic. The story of patient A serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the devastating consequences of addiction, even for those in positions of power. Patient B, known to history as Eva Braun, found herself drawn into the allure of Pervitin, a drug that promised to alleviate the burdens of wartime life. As the wife of Adolf Hitler, Eva was intimately acquainted with the inner workings of the Nazi regime. Despite her position within the inner circle, Eva's life was not untouched by the challenges of war. Working tirelessly to support her husband's cause, Eva turned to Pervitin as a means of coping with the demands of her role. She faced the pressures of maintaining appearances and fulfilling her duties as Hitler's companion, all while navigating the tumult of a world in turmoil. However, the cost of Eva's dependence on Pervitin became increasingly evident. She endured the harrowing side effects: weight loss, volatile mood swings, and strained relationships with those closest to her. Despite its initial appeal as a solution to her wartime struggles, Pervitin exacted a heavy toll on Eva's physical and emotional well-being. As the war drew to a close, Eva found herself confronting the harsh reality of withdrawal symptoms and a profound sense of despair. The drug that once promised relief had become a relentless adversary, leaving her grappling with the aftermath of addiction in a world forever changed by war. However, the cost of Eva's dependence on Pervitin became increasingly evident. She endured the harrowing side effects: weight loss, volatile mood swings, and strained relationships with those closest to her. Despite its initial appeal as a solution to her wartime struggles, Pervitin exacted a heavy toll on Eva's physical and emotional well-being. Yet, it's vital to remember that these individuals were not merely victims of a ruthless regime. They were also products of a particular societal and cultural context, one that normalized and even celebrated the use of performance-enhancing drugs. This context allowed the Pervitin epidemic to take hold and spread with such devastating consequences. The experiences of patient A and patient B reveal the dark side of Pervitin, but what about the Allies? The Allies were not unaware of the power of stimulants in warfare. In fact, during the Second World War, they too made use of performance-enhancing substances, albeit in a different manner. Unlike the Axis powers, who openly distributed Pervitin to their soldiers, the Allies adopted a more cautious approach. Their primary focus was on maintaining the physical and mental health of their troops, rather than pushing them beyond their natural limits. Amphetamines, like Benzedrine, were used by the Allied forces, but their usage was more regulated. The military hierarchy would prescribe them to combat fatigue during long operations or to boost morale. However, they were not doled out indiscriminately. This more measured approach was guided by a number of medical and ethical considerations. The potential for addiction and detrimental health effects were taken into account, as was the moral question of artificially enhancing human performance. The Allies recognized that the battlefield was not just a physical domain, but a moral one too. They understood that winning a war was not just about physical dominance, but also about maintaining the integrity of their principles. This is not to say that the Allies were perfect or that their drug policies were beyond reproach. However, their approach was arguably more measured and considered than that of the Axis powers. The legacy of wartime drug usage continues to influence modern military practices. Pervitin, a small pill with a big impact, played a significant role in the Third Reich and World War II as a whole. From powering the Blitzkrieg to influencing Hitler's decision-making, its effects were far-reaching. Yet we cannot ignore the human cost and ethical dilemmas it brought forth. While the Allies had their countermeasures, the legacy of wartime drug usage still impacts modern military practices today. This complex history encourages further exploration of the ethical dimensions of drug use in warfare. As we reflect on this complex history, we invite you to engage with the topic and share your thoughts in the comments below.